Hey, love, welcome back to another episode of Lessons from Behind My Chair. I'm your host, Angela B. Fuller, Master Hairstylist turned Certified Life Coach. It is so good to be back. Today, as a matter of fact, I look so forward to the episodes on Sundays, and then eventually coming soon, I will be having a mini episode, what I will be calling a fresh squeezed dose to get you through middle of the week. And I'm thinking about that episode being dropped on Wednesdays. So just wanted to drop that in your spirit, and it just gives us something to look forward to. But today we have a juicy episode set up for you today. But before we get started, of course, there's always a pop question because I just like to get our mind flowing, get our juices flowing, so that we can really get engaged in our conversation. So my pop question is this: do you ever feel like you want to speak up for yourself, but the words somehow remain trapped in your throat? There's just you struggle with adding air to it so that the sounds and your thoughts could come out to create impact in the world. Well, I know I've experienced, a whole lot of heartaches and headaches along the way because of my hesitation to speak out and to speak up for myself. So we are going to dive into that today with this episode, because I think we all need a wake-up moment. I think that there's sometimes that we have to begin to change how we go through life. I think sometimes we have to change how we present ourselves to the world. I think sometimes we have to change how we stand, or sometimes don't stand, take a stand for ourselves. So I hope that this episode can help you with that. So think about this for a second. What do you think happens when you don't speak up for yourself? Think about that. When you don't speak up for yourself. I know personally when I don't speak up for myself, it's a mental reaction. There's also a physical reaction that takes place. And if I think about it, I think it's safe to say that when we don't speak up for ourselves, I think we have a tendency to feel a little small. I think on some level, we begin to shrink on an emotional level, on a mental level, and sometimes even on a physical level, because we slouch down, or we allow our shoulders to curve in, we don't hold our neck and our head up as high or as confident. And so I want to dive in a little deeper to that. What happens to us when we do not speak up for ourselves? I think that we also lose the opportunity to put our voice into the world. And when we don't have an opportunity to put our voices into the world, how in the world are we going to create impact? I think when we don't speak up for ourselves, we allow ourselves, or we set ourselves up for future failures, because we become afraid to take a stand one way or another. And so we do not want to create a false belief that we do not matter. And when our voices are not out into the world, how else can we matter? How else can we matter if no one even know that we have an opinion or that we even exist? And then we begin to create self-doubt within ourselves. And so how do we get better? How do we get better at speaking up for ourselves? And trust me, it has nothing to do with you being shy. It has nothing to do with how, and I put in quotes, how small your vocabulary may be. It has nothing to do with what formal education you have. Because we are unique as individuals, because, matter of fact, because we were even born, we have a right to speak up for ourselves. We have a right to speak our truth. We have a right to honor our truth. And we have a right to take a stand and hold space for our truth. So I came up with for my own self to help me with being comfortable enough in my own skin to speak up for myself. I came with a morning ritual that I do. What I do is first thing, and this is what I want to suggest for you. So first thing in the morning, when I get up, after I've made my coffee or after I've made my tea or whatever beverage you drink in the morning, to kind of your glass of water, your juice or whatever, just to get your body moving, just to get your mind moving, just to come to terms with, I've got to go out and face this day. While you're having something to drink, to get those juices flowing, I want you to write down 3 truths that you want to happen for you, that you wish could happen for you, or that the possibility exists for it to happen for you. And it could be anything. It could be something like you believe that you're going to have a great day, or that when you step out into the world, you're going to create impact. You're going to make change. Or I am a child of God. I am whole. I am confident. I am ready to face my day. Whatever truth comes to mind, I want you to write 3 of those truths, and then I want you to make it a daily thing. A quick jot down. Don't overthink it. Just write it down. So that way, when you're putting that pencil to that paper, you're sealing something. What you're doing is causing a shift in your brain. You're retraining your brain to help you to connect the dots of what you believe to be true, what you want to be true, and you're marrying those 2 to make it true within your brain. And so another thing I want you to another way you can get better at speaking up for yourself is that to know that the strength of your voice is pretty much up to you, because no one can speak for you, and certainly no one can do it like you do it, because there's only one you. You are a unique individual, and so only you can do what you do. I remember when I made a decision to add to some of the things I wanted to put out into the world. Like all my life, for the past 30 years, I've been a cosmetologist. And like I said in some previous episode, if you go back and listen, you'll also find that for the 3 years ago, I became a licensed transformation coach. And with that, I have become a creator. I have become an influencer. And these are all things that I'm doing now to add to and to experience in the next chapter of my life. So when you feel that, so with the roles, the new roles that you have a desire to take on, and when you begin to take on those new roles, sometimes we haven't really conquered those roles, but we're learning, we're processing, we're going through the process. Sometimes we feel that our voice is not strong enough. We don't have enough knowledge. But trust and believe me, as long as you can stand and say, for the people that I'm trying to help, if you have 10% more knowledge or familiarity with what you're trying to teach, you have license to speak. Because speaking about a thing, especially when it comes to you and your own voice and your belief system about you, no, you're not trying to be an expert. What you're trying to do is introduce who you are and introduce truth that have worked for you. You're just putting it out into the world in hopes that it could help someone else. And so sometimes we second guess ourselves. So when you start to feel that energy drain that comes with second guessing yourself, it's just time to do something different. And so remember that feeling that drain, feeling unsure, feeling hesitant, wanting to speak and yet feeling choked up, that all of this is normal. And understand that your voice can move mountains. Your voice, not Sue's voice, not Jane's voice, not Roberta's voice, but your voice is the voice that can move mountains, because there are people out here who are waiting for the sound of your voice so that they can begin to move their mountains. And also understand that elevating your voice is up to you. And taking action towards that elevation is the key. It's the key. You see, because this is the thing. When you realize this about yourself, that your voice can move mountains, and that elevating your voice is the key to igniting that flame, a fire begins to build up and grow in you that just can't be put out. Sometimes it's subtle. It begins as just a flicker. And the more you do it, the more you speak up, the more you believe that your voice matters, that you have something positive to put out into the world that not only has done good for you, but has the ability and the possibility of impacting someone else. The next thing you know, your voice becomes a flame, and people catch the warmth of that flame and want to be in your presence. And all of that helps to confirm the good that your voice can have in this world. So, but now keep in mind that as you begin to speak up for yourself, it becomes easier. So don't expect humongous changes in the beginning, but as you do, as you go, it becomes easier. And then you begin to build a habit. And as you begin to build that habit, that's when the confidence comes, and that's when the transformation comes. Because when you have confidence, trust and believe me, you move in a different way. You don't move the same. You don't Your swag is different. Your outlook on life is different. How you step into a room is different. And you can feel it. You can feel the change in the room. You can feel the way others are observing you and begin to hang on to your every word. And then you begin to trust yourself. Because because even though we don't look for validation from other people, validation from others helps to build our self-confidence. Because one of the greatest human need is to be acknowledged for the changes that we make. And so when others begin to validate you through taking the words that you've put out into the world and begin to adopt them and use them in a way that helps them to move their life forward, that becomes full circle. That positive energy comes back to you. And what does it do? It builds up your confidence. It builds up your self-esteem. And so it makes you eager. It helps you to be eager to put it back out there. So yes, everything comes from within, but it gets fueled when you allow it to go out, do what it needs to do, and then bounce back around to you. So you see how speaking up for yourself is not about you. It's not about you having something to say, having more to say. It is for you to ask yourself, what good can my voice carry in this world? And I think it's important for us to know that. I think it's important for us to embrace that. Because when we realize that it's really not about us, but that it has to come through us, then I think we are more willing to allow that to happen. So I hope that this episode has been helpful to you. I hope that when you listen to this episode, you don't just think about yourself, but you think about friends and family in your life that could benefit from this episode. And I want to thank you in advance for sharing it out to the people that you love, your coworkers, your family, your friends, even a stranger, someone who has not yet become a friend, acquaintances. I want to encourage you to share it out. And that I would be so ever grateful to see that happen. And remember, I want you to know that I believe in you, that you got this. And until the next time, know that your voice is needed to help create the impact, the positive impact in this world. Okay? Bye.